Calvin Watkins, Dallas Morning News. Practice outside yesterday. It was a light drizzle. Thought process there.
Number one, I want to get on the grass. It's better for their bodies and their legs. You know, we're still a little bit sore yesterday. We're coming back from the Monday night game, and we have a couple games here in a short window of time. But again, I want to get outside, get some stuff done. We had to move. We're kind of in a ramp-up process. You know, Calvin, Wednesday we did all walk through. Yesterday we ran full speed for about 40 minutes or so. Today will be an hour and 20 minutes of kind of full speed running, but all part of the process. Anytime we can get outside, I'd rather go outside. And plus it's kind of fun to play outside in the rain a little bit.
Will you be in this mode, not so much outside, but not in pads through Detroit maybe?
Yeah, I mean, you have to be. I mean, we might do pads the week of Detroit. We'll see where we are at that point. And, it's an assessment. I've got a great group of people that I lean on, from, Jim Maurer and Britt Brown and the strength staff and really our whole, sports performance department. I kind of lean on those guys, but I also kind of just watch practice and see what our legs look like and how we feel. And there's a handful of guys that I watch, and if they're not moving real fast, there's a reason. And so because of that, I'll be like, I need to be a little smart here. But we'll be in that type of mode probably for the next couple games.
Clarence Hill, DLLS Cowboys, overshown and rebel on pitch counts last week. Will they be on pitch counts again this week, and where are they in that developmental process?
Yeah, they will. It'll be very similar probably to last week's, Clarence, just because of the close proximity to this game and then turning around and playing against Kansas City. But as you guys know, those pitch counts are a little flexible depending on the type of game and where it's going. But I would say it should be about the same.
We haven't talked about Diggs. I guess he's clear to come back next week. I don't know if the short week impacts that. Where is he in his rehab coming back?
Yeah, the biggest thing I would say is I think he's looking really good. Again, I'm not sure where he's at. 3 weeks I think he's in, so I think he's got one more. I think. Yeah, I'm not sure. This will be the fourth game. Yeah. So again, let's see how he does for today. Really, But I'm really pleased. I kind of watch from afar when we're over there doing different things and see how he's done. But I know he's chomping at the bit.
So it's not about the concussion; it's more about the knee.
Yeah. Yeah.
Brian Todd Archer with ESPN. Malik Hooker will be back. Is he back today for practice?
Yes.
His return, calming influence back there? How do you describe what he brings?
Absolutely. I think, again, when you talk about a defense, especially one that's had as much change as we did going into last week, the safeties are just such a confidence boost because they really get everything aligned along with the linebackers, close calls, things like that, the communication when you change formations, and which our league has become so much of that, funky shifts, movements, and things like that. Both he and Donovan have been so good to have those guys back. And I thought he played really well last week. I'm talking about Malik.
John Machota with The Athletic. I know Dak said that it was no big deal with the hip, but just like what did he look like in practice yesterday?
Oh, great. Yeah, he was full, no problems. This time of year, everybody's a little, beat up and banged up, but I thought he moved great.
Nick Harris, for Star Telegram. Jonathan Mingo hasn't been active yet this season. What do you kind of need to see from him to be able to take that next step, or is it as simple as just the receiver numbers right now?
Yeah, no, we have a number of receivers that we're confident in, but, Mingo's a guy that we're really excited about. We want to see him play. It's been a competitive battle between he and a couple of the guys for that last spot. Again, it comes down to not just offense, but special teams as well. And my big thing for Jonathan has just been, hey, can you play all the spots? Can you do all the different areas? And so he understands that that's, kind of where he needs to go. And there's a chance he's activated this week.
With Philadelphia's roster, I know you've talked about their defensive front, but how can you appreciate just how they developed their entire defense and drafting well to get those guys in place?
Yeah, Howie and Nick do a great job. They obviously have a style. They like going to Athens, which is usually a pretty good starting point. When you think about it that way, they must have a lot of frequent flyer miles down to Atlanta and over to Athens. I spent some time there, so I understand what that's about. But again, the cool thing for me when you look at it is they have a style that they want to play, and they've brought in those players regardless of who the coordinator is, whether it's Jonathan Gannon or Vic Fangio. They've always played excellent defense, and, you know, you got to appreciate what they've built and what they're trying to build. And, you know, I think I hold those guys in a lot of respect.
Tommy Orsh, DallasCowboys.com. Saquon hasn't had the numbers per se that he's had to this point last year, but what have you seen from him this year? How you kind of protect against, like, okay, maybe I have the numbers, but he's still a really good player.
Yeah, you guys get caught up in the numbers way more than I do. I'm a video guy, man. I just turn on the film, and when I watch Saquon Barkley run, whether it goes for 1 yard or 30 yards, I'm holding on. I'm like, oh man, because he's just that talented. And so, again, they've had a lot of moving parts on their offensive line. That's part of it. But, you know, I mean, look at what the guy did last year. You know, he's just a fantastic football player, and we have to do a good job of owning the line of scrimmage and kind of, you know, not giving him space to run. We did a great job of that last week, but can we do it again? You know, everything that we're talking about is the consistency. We know we have to stack wins. We know we have to play well. We understand that. But if we go and we play and we execute at the level we did last week, I think that will, you know, lend well for us having a chance to win this game in the fourth quarter.
Garrett Corral, CBS Sports. Hey, Brian. In the first matchup, CD had, I think, 4 drops. How much does that come up this week, and kind of how do you feel about him facing the Eagles a second?
I hadn't thought about it till you brought it up, and I have zero concerns about it. And I think he'll play really well this week.
Patrick?
Hey, Coach. Patrick Walker, DallasCowboys.com. Kevontae Turpin, pre-injury, was making an impact on offense. Post-injury, he's had kind of a struggle in doing so. Is that because you guys are trying to figure out ways to work him in post-injury? Is it what the defense is giving you? And without, you know, showing your hand, do you guys have something in play to kind of try to get him integrated back into
Yeah, you know, I think the question's real. The question's fair. I think the injury did, you know, have a little setback for Terp and for us. But it's not just that. I mean, you know, his ability to affect the game isn't always by getting the ball in his hands. You know, I mean, some of the things that he does, getting open and taking pressure off of people because of his speed, is very impactful. But he's a guy that we definitely, when you look at, we know he can help us make plays and create explosive plays, and that's what he does. I thought last week, I think he played his most snaps at receiver. I think it was over 30, 35, something like that. But I also think you can speak to the fact that, you know, we've got 2 elite receivers that take a lot of the balls, and then, you know, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention what Ryan Flournoy's doing. I mean, Flo's a guy that we're really excited about as well. So I don't think it's anything I worry about, but I will say that, you know, over the bye, we definitely said, okay, hey, there's a guy by the name of Kevontae Turpin that we'd like to get more involved. And, you know, it'd be a great week to have it happen because of this is a defense that doesn't give up a lot of explosives, and this guy has the ability to create a lot of explosives.
Go for it.
Chris Haynes with Fox 4. Question today, how is the birthday gift search going?
The birthday gift search is still ongoing. If I wait a little bit longer, I might be able to tie it into Christmas, you know. But you guys haven't really stepped up and given me a whole lot of help. And, yeah, well, Christy, you know, like, she understands, right? And then my son's got a birthday coming up here on the 27th, so I really am in a tough spot. But thank you for bringing that up, and I'll definitely get asked about it on date night tonight. So thank you for bringing that up, because she'll be like, really, it's Friday, we can't. Yeah, okay, yeah, please do.
Nick?
I passed some notes to Ted. You need to check in with him.
Okay, good.
You talked about a video showing up a lot more than stats. Who are some guys on your team that kind of points out to, if you think about that? Guys that show up way more on tape than stat sheet.
Yeah, again, I mean, I will say, you know, I'm going to start with Flo. I think, you know, Flo is a guy that, you know, again, he does so many things for us that don't get noticed. It's really cool for me to see him, you know, developing as a receiver. I think Reddy Stewart's a guy that jumps off the film with his physicality, the way that he plays, and, you know, playing that nickel position. We know how important it is. Another name that jumps up that actually I need to congratulate, I'll mention Solomon Thomas. He was, I think, the Week 12 NFLPA Community MVP for the work that he does off the field, and his leadership in our locker room is incredible. But that's another guy that he doesn't have, you know, that many sacks or things like that, but the play style and what he does to get other guys is really good. And then, you know, I do think that another young player that I'll speak to, he just got a game ball today, was Elijah Clark. on special teams. He and Brevin spawned forward, man. I mean, their impact on special teams is invaluable. And just watch those two guys. If you want to pick two guys to put your eyes on in special teams coverage wise, 38 and 89, man. Those are guys that they do it the right way.
Brian, Ali Jawad, DLS Cowboys. Go back to week.
I like you when you sit in his chair. Can we move that? Yeah, I please feel free to take that chair anytime you want. You know what I'm saying?
Go back to week 1, and Tyler Booker's first matchup was supposed to be Jalen Carter. Here we are about 12 weeks later, and you know deeper into his rookie season now. How do you feel about Booker now going into a matchup again against Jalen Carter with what he's done so far compared to week 1, where it was a tough matchup right out of the gate? What was supposed to be a tough matchup right out of the gate?
Yeah, it's still a tough matchup. I mean, Jalen's a tough matchup on anybody, and again. I wouldn't pay money to watch many defensive interior linemen play football, but I would pay money to watch Jalen Carter. That's how I feel about the guy. He's really a good player, but I think the experience Book's gained, and knows he belongs, and the physicality is important. He's playing with a lot more confidence than maybe he was early in the year, certainly coming back off the injury a couple weeks ago. But yeah, it's a tough matchup for anybody, and the good news is he doesn't have to block him by himself. Nobody really does block Jalen by themselves, and but they stress you different ways. But I think the sky's the limit for Tyler Booker.
And Skyler.
Skyler Dix went PAP. A good segue to what I was going to ask. Jalen Carter will obviously be a talking point Sunday after what happened in the opener. In the mind of a play caller, when there's a really sudden, drastic personnel change like that at the beginning of the game, does it change much? Does it change the opening script at all, or is it something that maybe changes as the game goes along and you realize he's not there?
With an elite player like Jalen, I would be lying if I said that it didn't. It does, because you have things built into your system, certain calls and ways you want to handle certain things. I'd say depends on the player, but an elite player like Jalen, which he is an elite player, it definitely has an effect. It doesn't take you long, but there are adjustments that you have to kind of make and things that you're kind of ready to do. You're like, okay, well, I maybe can do this both ways, or hey, I was going to run this play that way because of Jalen, but hey, I can run it either way now. But it happens pretty quick, and it takes you a series or two to kind of balance that back out. I'd much rather not play him. I mean, but unfortunately, I think he's going to be out there and flying around the way he always does.
Is that it? Anybody?
Good.
Thanks,
Thanks, guys. See you at practice. You guys want to go inside today? Sure. Keep you guys off.
Hate you.